But yeah, I see a good bunch of mix of people supporting their jerseys. But I'll quickly introduce everyone, and I quickly welcome you all as well to the podcast, to the Gridmaster podcast, episode 9, Spanish Grand Prix. And my God, do we have a lot to talk about? Because that was spicy. But I will very quickly introduce you all as well, starting from my immediate right, Aranya, who is wearing green today. Yeah? Are you supporting Aston Martin Aramco?
In support of your driver who was not able to take part
It's
in the
okay.
Oh,
It's
race.
okay. He had a backache because of carrying the team for so long. तब जाके
Of
अलोंसो को दो
course.
पॉइंट तो लेके आया.
हाँ.
So this is the as soon as I say that Omkar on the very immediately Omkar aka fourth sector F1 is repping Alonso.
Omkar, are you shifting races or what? Max Verstappen से सीधा Alonso.
no. So this is
What a downgrade.
I've specially worn this to for the death of Sid's stat of 14-0. It's now 14-2.
अरे
Ah.
यार
अरे बाप रे
14-2 ठीक है 14-2
Yeah,
ही तो
it's
है.
a home race celebration at least for one of the Spaniards. So I'll
Yeah.
probably
Probably the only Spaniard that was in the race yesterday. The other was probably, I don't know, having a
yeah.
love
The other
affair
one
with the
was
other
crying,
cowgirls.
not because of eating a chili, but because of the bad performance.
Having a love affair with
Too
one of the
real.
cowgirls. Yeah. On उसके नीचे I have a very happy Ferrari fan यार क्या बात है Mr. Ankush Ahuja, a very avid F1 traveler as well. And Ankush bhai, I think after yesterday we got a podium, so I think it's a very happy.
Yeah, he has a reason to smile. He has a reason to be
Yeah,
happy.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
अनलाइकली पोडियम
Podium nonetheless. हम पूछते
पोडियम
नहीं कहाँ से है,
नॉनदलेस
ले लेंगे भाई.
likely unlikely does not matter, the
And
results that matter.
it was not an unlikely podium. It was the unlikely driver on the podium, in all honesty.
No,
Really,
Yeah,
you think
no.
yeah.
you
He
think
start
Hamilton Leclerc
P5, man.
See, Ferrari is driving with 1.5 drivers. The one driver got the podium.
Wow.
I'm going to
you
be
mean
so
that
I thought he was
1.5
supposed to
is
be.
because of the 1 second slower lap times,
both.
or he's half a driver and more half a diva now?
Both,
I mean, like,
both probably. I think both.
Ankush, you brought this on yourself.
I'm not
I
expecting
agree.
a
I
collab
agree.
anymore for this one either.
If we get cancelled, we get cancelled together by the Hamilton fandom. Bring it on, man. They are a fandom that turns against their own fandom. So bring it on, bring it on. But last but not the least, we have the return of Mr. Ravi Jogi,
What's up,
Welcome
the
back,
guys?
founder of
Ravi.
What's
You
up?
look slimmer. You look leaner.
the founder of the Grid Master.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gone.
Now he's back. Now he's back.
Troll net.
Bro, I think it is your net. It is your network. My
I
guy,
see
he always is
Nahi.
saying, everyone? Seriously?
Yeah.
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 हाँ,
Yes.
थोड़ा
it's okay
blur
for
तो
me.
हुआ
मेरे लिए ठीक है.
Gambul.
अभी अभी ठीक हुआ
Ravi
मेरे
and
लिए.
Ankush are doing what, yaar? Together
अरे
they
यार,
are
तू
just
समझ नहीं रहा है
planning.
यार. मेरे को
Hoka.
4th पोजीशन से बाहर निकलना है यार. तू समझ नहीं रहा.
नहीं निकल पाओगे. आज नहीं निकल पाओगे.
Come on,
देख,
Ankush.
अंबानी lost last night. एक और अंबानी cannot lose like this यार.
अरे अरे
Flex. That is not a subtle flex. That is a very hardcore flex.
very hard flex. On the
फिर
face
आपने
flex.
अंपायर खरीदे कि नहीं? नहीं, आपको एफआई खरीदना था बट नहीं खरीद पाए.
Yes, guys, welcome. I think this is the 9th episode of Gridmaster podcast. And after the Spanish Grand Prix, we have a lots to talk. But before that, let me explain the four fans Ankush, Ananya, Siddharth, and Omi. They are four diehard fans who've joined Gridmaster's private league, that is Podcast League. And the stakes are really high. And let me tell you what are the stakes. They are gunning for the F1 experience package at the 2025 Qatar Grand Prix. And where the flights and the accommodation is sponsored by Gridmaster, but the main ticket, they're fighting for that. And every race weekend, the bottom two performers have to pay or contribute towards the pot of the F1 ticket that they are fighting for. And we started this from Australia, and we are going till the Miami Grand Prix. So 20 races. That's a collective of 75,000 rupees, which is which is the actual cost of the F1 grandstand ticket for the F1 experience package. And during the Brazilian Grand Prix, that is the 21st Grand Prix weekend, these four are going to go for the win, and the one who wins it wins the entire F1 experience package. So yeah, and this is it. And yeah, it is a very interesting and a very tight fought battle between everyone.
It's not that
Before
tight fought.
it is. I think I'll explain you. I'll
I'm
explain you. So
saying that first.
before Spain, I think Siddharth, you've paid the least amount of time 3 times, and Ananya, Omi, and Ankush, they all are tied at 5 times. So basically, they have paid 5 times into the pot, whereas
Hence, not that tight. Huh?
भाई सिर्फ 2 का difference है. Next 2 Grand Prix, you are paying and you're there.
But someone with me. I'm not paying. I'm not paying alone.
Yeah, but still, वैसे वैसे करके you know get closer to that number. But yeah, I think what has happened during the Spain Grand Prix, for the podcast league, Spain Grand Prix, we'll see that during the later part of the podcast. But yeah, let's discuss about the
Hmm.
Spanish Grand Prix. There's a lot to discuss.
Wow.
Well,
Simon, come back.
Volapento had a very sedate race. Let's put it that way,
Yeah,
and very sedate and very pedestrian pace also. So he was trying to, you know, how do you say it?
I think Ankush is very subtle right now. मुझे लगा Ankush
Yeah,
is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
come
Ankush
all
should
guns
be,
blazing.
काफी ये वर्ड्स के ऊपर
dude,
तो मुझे शुगर विद
Ankush,
कैलोरीज
you
दिख रही है.
should,
Yeah.
in all honesty, he should have represented our country when we were doing all of those diplomatic relations, dude. How diplomatic this
Oh.
was.
For me, more important than what was happening at the back of the grid, because that's practically inconsequential. We have to talk of uh, two things actually. One obviously is the race strategies. A
Oh
three-stop
yes.
race.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I didn't think of this circuit to be as, I mean, so we couldn't have such high deck, for Catalonia. That was a shocker. So, and I mean, mentally, I was thinking that people would be going soft, soft hard, or a soft medium hard.
hmm.
So actually, not seeing the hard tires up until the last stint on Mr. Max Verstappen's car was
That was the
was
most
quite a
stupid move
surprise.
that Red Bull did.
Yeah, so that again, that brings that brings me to the next point that I was wanting to talk of. Um, he had done about 4 or 5 laps on that soft tire, the
I
final
think
More
stint
or
I
less.
before.
think
More or
I
less.
think I
Yeah,
think more or
because
less I think it
it
was
was
6 laps if I'm not
It,
wrong.
yeah, and
six,
then
I think
Yeah.
six
you
to
when
seven
you've had
laps.
about and then I mean when you're looking at the guys at Red Bull, they kind of know when a car is stuck in the gravel trap like that. You're looking at about 4 to 5 laps safely, of the safety car. So, and then after that, you're having about 5 to 6 laps. Based on the tire deck, we had about 12 to 14 laps of race stints on the soft tires, and these are now low fuel runs. So there
Exactly.
was, I mean, would Max survive with that used soft? I think probably he would have even won the race had he stayed on that tire.
Exactly,
So
exactly my
Ooh.
point. Even
yeah,
I
yeah. So
believe the same.
that was a howler of a decision.
Same.
And then of course, getting onto those hard tires, that frustration of those hard tires.
See,
Um,
I think you having that hard tire makes your decision easier, right? That we do not want to pit a
yeah,
driver. Because any which ways, the other drivers, Lando, Oscar, they are not using their fresh soft tires. They
yeah,
are also used like 3-4 lap. I think
Yeah,
4 laps were used.
scrub
Yeah,
soft,
scrap
Scrub soft.
softs, right?
Yeah.
So it was a very easy decision for Red Bull to have the track position, not pit, and go
yeah.
for that win. But looking at the race and looking at McLaren's pace, do you guys feel that it's done? Like McLaren has won the development race for this year, and they are clearly favorites in all sense.
या उस केस में ओमकार भाई स्पेन आ गया और
Spa-
मेरे को बोलो मैकलारन का
exactly.
क्या हुआ
I did try to get on a message with him last night after the race happened, and I was still asking him when is the technical directive going to hit according to you, because it
Yeah.
hasn't hit the way you said
Yeah,
it's going to. And at that moment when they were sealing every pre practice, every qualifying session, and the race with a 1-2 and a fastest lap, it's known that their development is out of this world right now. Others will have to catch up. Dekho, constructors, they have already taken it. They have both hands over the constructor, and
It is
driver
gone.
battle is pretty much going to be between those two, because after both of them, it's just people, fighting for it. There's Leclerc, there's Russell, there's Max, all of them in the mix fighting for that third position, and it's always going to be chaotic. And those
I
two
think only
drivers are going to have to.
I think only Max is a potential driver who can do something about it. I don't think so. Charles Leclerc with that Ferrari or Lewis Hamilton with that Ferrari. Mercedes का तो
Yeah,
नाम ही
Yeah,
नहीं
no,
लेना
Lewis
चाहता हूँ
Hamilton.
मैं, but
this weekend reminds me of the very famous Fernando Alonso 2018 Le Mans quote. We do 1-2 in practice, 1-2 in
1-2 in
qualifying,
quali,
1-2 in
1-2 in
race. Total
everything.
domination.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this was a statement weekend from McLaren, that you can put acquisitions on us, say tire water or flexi wings, but it does not matter, because at the end,
Crazy.
needs to look inside his own team and what's going wrong there with the development of their own team, rather than looking at McLaren on how they are operating in a different manner.
agree,
Oh, that
agree.
reminds me. Why the heck did they call sort of asked Max to give the position back as well? That was a
Exactly.
50-50 blunder, if you look at it from that perspective. But I love when Max whines, and I especially love when someone does to Max what Max does to others. He just does not like it. He hates it. He so hates it. And I love when the other guy is George Russell. Some special affection he has to George Russell. I don't know. And in that
Ah,
case, I'm always team George Russell.
But said also, every time he has a tiff with a Brit, you know how the English media is.
Tip
I
yeah.
don't
with
know
the
if you saw
Brits.
that exchange, boy.
Bro,
That
I,
was
I did,
very
I did, I did.
I
I
Rage
think
bait.
Sky Sports. I think Omi only put up this
Yeah,
reel, right?
I have
Oh
a
man,
bone to pick with Sky Sports. I mean, ठीक है, your journalism at front, okay, you're doing it well, but they were trying
rile
to
him
get
up.
every driver to speak about it, even if they are not included or included. Oscar Piastri,
yeah,
what do you think about Max and Russell? Lando, what do you think about it? I mean, why are they even concerned with that? Why are you asking? And they're trying to manufacture that news.
yeah. They're
Nobody's,
trying to.
yeah, nobody's giving them any
This guy,
attention, and they're trying to put words into your mouth on how things, and they're saying stuff like, but it concerns the kids back at home watching. I mean, come on, this is
I
this
think
is not the
it
level
was
you're falling to now.
it was a little pushy from Sky Sports for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, it was very evident this time around.
but it's
First of all, did you guys actually enjoy this weekend? Like, did you think it was a good racing weekend?
Yeah, I mean, for me at least,
Yeah.
those 10, 12 laps of, yeah, and
but only those
specifically
10
because
12 laps.
it was a strategic
yeah,
battle, right?
right.
It was a strategic face off. So that is something that is good to see, because it's not. I mean, there were overtakes happening, right? It was not like a Monaco where whether you're on a soft tire, medium tire, hard tire didn't really matter. It's going to be a train. So there was a lot of rejig that was happening. Guys were trying to undercut. So I mean, for me, and from a strategic point of view, I kind of enjoyed this race, because
Yeah, I
again, you
think.
had overtaking opportunities. It was not like guys running in a train. And then of course you had the traffic issue.
Hmm.
I'll tell you
I
what, I
will
mean,
give it
apart from the
a.
last 6 laps, I think I slept through the entire race, did not
Oh,
enjoy a bit of it.
Yeah,
I think this is a thing that I have with Spanish drivers and Spanish Grand Prix. I just don't like it.
Arre, arre,
Everything
arre, arre,
about
arre,
it
arre.
is just boring.
Arre, arre, arre. Pedro
I
De
mean,
La Rosa is
seriously, man,
crying in his
apart from the
house.
last 6 laps, there's nothing that actually saved the race. And there's still a problem with Formula One because F2 and
Hey,
F3 were fun.
Yeah,
but to give it to Spanish drivers यार अगर Spanish drivers नहीं होते तो ना crash gate होता ना spy gate होता कुछ भी नहीं होता यार
Now we have Max Verstappen now for all the entertainment.
but exactly as you
What
said, I do not understand why Red Bull Pitwall told Max Verstappen to give that place back. It was never George Russell's place to go for.
Take
Also, he
back.
did not.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, he did not go
honestly
on the
who
radio to tell that he should give the place back. I mean,
I,
I
I,
heard Horner's interview on Sky Sports, and he said, we kind of learned from our previous experiences where we did not, give the position back, and FIA were punishing us with penalties. So this time we took that step before, so that we do not get a penalty. But I understand if that is still under investigation or what is happening around
exactly.
that.
But it was under
Everyone,
it was under investigation, right?
it was noted
right?
if
It
I'm
was,
not
but I
But
mean, if
no,
I
but knowing Max, नहीं but
right,
knowing Max
but
and FIA वो लोग उसको penalty पक्का देते हैं.
right, that was the anticipation. But I mean, if someone like me, an audience sitting at home, could understand that this is no more than a racing incident, because okay, it's a safety car restart,
Right.
everyone is, bit of gambling and making moves at the very start. That wasn't more than a racing incident, and it was treated like one from the FIA. But they, like, उन लोगों ने थोड़ा ज्यादा ही आगे का देख लिया, और
I don't know. It was entertainment. So it's nice to see.
Also very reminiscent of Schumacher ramming into Jacques Villeneuve's 1997 European Grand Prix
Villeneuve,
at the
Yeah.
yeah.
end.
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Michael, you hit
very
the
much.
wrong part of him, my friend, said Martin Brundle famously on air.
Sid, what do you think of Max's save on that straight at the
Wow,
restart? What a save!
wow, wow.
ooh,
And think of it,
How?
if it was a Pastor
Same.
Maldonado or I don't want to take his name, but you know whom I'm talking
Oh,
of. So
Who? No, honestly,
the two
who?
people I'm kind of hinting
Who?
at.
No,
Roman
Ankush.
Grosjean.
Who, Ankush?
Ankush, who?
I'm talking about Roman Grosjean.
Ankush,
You want to have
who?
some Coca Cola, or you want to stroll in the park?
After this podcast episode, I'm going to put up a story where I have Franco's photo, and picture I'm going to have a music. Coca Cola, tu, shola shola, tu.
Cringe.
What a save! Yeah, I mean it was unreal with those hard tires,
Crazy.
trying to get them up to temps,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
suddenly you lose the back end on the straight out of all the
That
places,
was one big tank slapper.
and then you clip Charles as well to go on the
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
and say, "Oh,
That was more than
I
just a clip. That was a
yeah."
proper makeout session. So it was more than just a clip. And we just sort of just forget about the entire incident that Oscar Piastri is back again.
I think he never left.
Right.
He never left.
He never
Hate
left.
hate थोड़ा साइड में हो गया था वो.
अरे ठीक है ब्रो मतलब आई थिंक गिवन अ सीजन थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे चलेगा बट द kind of consistency and the speed and the maturity that guy is showing I genuinely feel Lando Norris is going to be overshadowed for sure.
अरे I can already sense, if this was a live stream, I can sense the Lando fangirls typing in the chat. Lando को कैसा बोला तू?
Yeah, but honestly Lando is making mistakes and whereas Oscar on the contrary is like flawless when he's winning he's flawless, he's having a flawless weekend is what I feel.
Honestly, good race from both McLarens. I mean, none of them made a mistake here and there. And I was honestly just kind of worried about the two, them double stacking, because you could see Oscar, being serviced and Lando being right behind him, and he had to get, I think, a second extra
Right.
than what he would have liked to. But good job by McLaren overall in general. So that's supposed to be the thing. So that's a but incredible by McLaren. Even Lando, I think we give him a very bad time when he does a stupid race, but he was flawless in P2 to P2, but 10
I
point पीछे
I
है, but
think with
championship
that
में है.
I think with that car if he's not winning he's not doing a good job in my
But
opinion.
did he actually lost the initiative on the opening lap, right? When Max
Yeah,
overtook
yeah.
him. So that was race lost right there.
Yeah.
Right.
And
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर वो नहीं भी होता ना I don't think so he
I
had
think
the
I was.
pace of what Oscar is having.
I
Uh,
think that is
Right.
also
But
that
yeah,
also
throughout the
explains
race, because
why he was struggling in quali, because he was trying to push beyond what he thought the limits of his car were. So
yep. Yeah, I complete.
I think a bit of desperation is also involved there, right? Because he wants to keep up to what his Monaco performance was. And I think a
right.
lot of now extra media pressures on him saying, oh, if he can do that in Monaco, he can continue doing that as well. So
Exactly.
I think it's a bit of built up pressure that he probably added on himself, which is slightly unnecessary. But I understand when your teammate is doing so much better than you and a younger one with
hmm.
half the
Is
experience
it?
you have.
I think Canada again. It's going to be McLaren 1-2. I
Yeah, Ferrari does very good there as well.
for the kind of pace that they've shown in Spain, I genuinely feel that going forward, it's going to be McLaren 1-2 like throughout the season.
ऐसा मत बोलो यार.
हाँ.
Then
Ferrari
Yeah,
का
it's
भी
going to
जीतेगा.
because
become like F1 has become boring again.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you don't know which McLaren is winning.
Yeah, but then eventually it still is a McLaren, right? That's winning. So
Fair.
we at least need two constructors and four drivers gunning for a championship. That that is like proper cinema. That is
follow
like
the
Two and
MotoGP
a
model
half.
then. Follow
Two and
the
a half
MotoGP model.
satellite teams,
I,
you
I
can say.
I don't follow MotoGP, but I think MotoGP maybe Marquez is dominating the scenes, right?
Yeah,
Not
but
exactly.
see, Ravi, the difference
Not
is
really.
where the difference actually comes is versus the MotoGP model. See, because we do have customer teams in Formula One. It's not like we don't have. You look at McLaren, it's a Mercedes customer. You look at Williams, it's a Mercedes customer. The difference comes in because they are having their own development path, they are having their own chassis development and all that. But in MotoGP, you actually get leased bikes, so it's eventually
Hmm.
the factory that's building the
Same
bike.
bike.
Yeah, and it's all that you're seeing different is the branding on the bike, the
Hmm.
livery, and of course, in fact, even the setups are shared between the riders. So so if Pecco is having, let's say, a setup called X, that setup will be shared with all the riders, and they can accordingly choose whether they want to go with that same setup or they want to tweak it based on
Oh,
their own riding preference.
If they are on factory contracts, yes.
Yeah, of
MotoGP
course,
right
when
now
you
is
own the
very
bike.
unpredictable because you've had five different race winners in the past five races. So
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so
And
the
even though
action is
Mark
back
is
in
dominating,
MotoGP.
Mark
Yeah,
is making mistakes. So
Big
which
time.
of course, which Oscar isn't. I mean, at least when he's leading.
yeah,
But we've discussed about Lando in the past as well, right? In one of our earlier podcasts, where Lando has been having these issues of inconsistency over the course of an year, and it's these little mistakes that actually eventually add up to where you end up losing a championship in the long run. So
very true.
true.
yeah, I was actually thinking after the quali, uh, when I was driving back home, I was like thinking, how does a team, we've seen this so often. You look at Mercedes with Rosberg and Hamilton. Now you're seeing, we've seen this with Senna and Prost. Now we are seeing this with Piastri and Norris. Like, how do you approach a debrief session? How do you talk to the drivers and kind of tell them, listen, we want both of you to win if possible, but that's not possible because there can only be one winner. But try and keep it as clean as possible and not jeopardize, our chances. I mean, I kind of try to
Right.
understand the psyche of the team principle, and at the same time the psyche of the drivers. How do you approach it? Because eventually they know too many misdemeanors or misbehaviors on track, and it's not just your own championship, but you're also risking losing your seat. If in case you end up being too bad
Yeah,
in the team's definition of driving. So
I don't think so. They must be talking about conflict वाले points avoid ही करते होंगे McLaren वाले. I think that is also that is also good way to handle things, right? I mean, why to bring it up and जब race आएगा जब situation आएगी तब देख लेंगे. I mean, if I was a team principal, I wouldn't have touched this point. Yeah,
अरे अरे
yeah. I think simple सा बात है. First corner जो lead किया, he's winning the race.
but see, that's the thing, right? We used to say probably ये race हो सकता है where these two come together, are coming together, and
Yeah,
and eventually, wherever the you have a turn one where you have multiple lines going through, which actually lead into the apex of the next turn.
yeah,
Things can be very different.
makes
So
sense. I think we need a different Drive to Survive show for that, na? To get into
फरारी
the
का
debrief
इंजन
sessions.
yeah,
फरारी का इंजीनियर तो दारू के साथ ही घुसता रहेगा आज सब 2 बजे तक पियेंगे
Ferrari's engineer doesn't say anything to Hamilton, so it does not matter. Adam is on a
इसलिए तो आज
one
तुम
brother.
दो
हाँ,
बजे तक आज मैं 2 बजे तक पीऊंगा
He
बट आई
still
थिंक
misses
फोर
उनका
Seb.
पूरा डीब्रीफ रेडियो पे ही हो
Adam, he
जाता है रेस के
misses
दौरान.
Seb.
But interestingly, I think talking about Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari again, this was another poor performance by the duo. I I genuinely feel that he's not settling in well with the Ferrari team and with
no
his
not at all
engineer and with the car. And I don't know, for some reason, I feel that he's starting to realize that it was a mistake leaving Mercedes and coming to a new team, right? I mean, do you think that with his body language also? I think after the interview,
Yeah.
someone asked that, I wish
Yeah, yeah,
that the team can, fix your issues. And Lewis was very vocal that it's not the team, it's me. I mean, I have to fix myself. So,
यार
I don't know.
see
One thing I've known about Ferrari, sorry, Sid, it's that any 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 driver that wants to get into Ferrari in order to win a championship has to mold themselves to the team. The team doesn't mold itself to a driver that it
you
chooses.
yes
Even I mean, I've only been through the entire Seb in Ferrari thing as a fan, as an active consumer, And to the extent that the first thing I think he did was he went and learned Italian or relearned Italian, because with Toro Rosso, obviously, he used to speak Italian.
Yep. Yep.
And then eventually, from 2015 to 2019, 2020, you would see that his accent also changed. Like his English accent changed. Right? To
Oh.
that extent, you have to be immersed in Ferrari in order to get
Wow.
something out of them. Right?
Something
And
out of them.
that, yeah, in all honesty, that's what it is. Because Ferrari will not perform. You need to make Ferrari perform. And
Fair.
that's just the honest truth. So
Yep.
I think Lewis needs to do a little bit more. He cannot come into this rigid, and I think that's what he is expected, or that's what he's come into this. He's like, oh yeah, they're a championship winning team, they know what they're doing, they've got enough money and firepower into the car, I'm sure they can win. But that's not the way you work with Ferrari.
For me, yesterday is overtake by Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg.
Oh,
mean-
what a performance.
I almost signed
Crazy,
him for this weekend,
Wow.
but
Oh wow.
alas,
But
alas.
obviously, just like every single time.
As you say, you never picked.
No
Yeah.
ifs, no buts. It's all gone.
Wow.
Wow.
In all honesty though, did Ferrari have some issue towards the end of the race, which is why they
Skill issue.
randomly lost space like
Yes,
that?
they had an
Skill
issue.
issue.
They had Lewis Hamilton driving that point.
Oh, now Ravi is
Champ.
coming into his element.
Double
He's
doubling
like,
on him.
I was going to be slightly soft about it, saying skill issue, but there you go.
But I think
Yeah.
Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari was facing some rear end issues. He was complaining about the stability of the rear end, and he's a driver who likes the stability of a rear end, so he wasn't able to drive it in the best possible manner. And I think
Right.
for his second stint, they adjusted some downforce in his front wing, which wasn't the case. So towards the very end of the race, he was even slower than that Sauber, and as we
But
saw, the race
still,
was over.
man, Kick Sauber
Right?
is overtaking you, man. Come on.
Take F1. It's not kick Sauber. It's take F1. You
Take
keep missing.
F1.
You keep forgetting the names of the teams. What is this?
I just checked then. Sauber is now P8 in the constructors, ahead of
Yeah.
one factory team and one Aston Martin.
I think Alpine is last, dead
Nico?
last.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Factory team.
Nico
Kither hai Flavio
Hulkenberg,
Briatore?
Nico Hulkenberg now has more points than the second seat of Red Bull for the last 10 races.
Combined.
Oh my God.
Combined, yeah.
Combined.
Nico this season has 16 points, and Red Bull second seat from Abu Dhabi 2024 have 10 points.
Wow.
Damn. I think genuinely we should do that. There's some famous meme going on, na?
Oh, digital snan.
Digital snan.
Digital snan.
मैं दीपक
I
भाई को
think
फोन करता हूँ.
I think second seat का कोई digital स्नान तो करवा देते हैं यार, because
दीपक भाई
that
को फोन करते हैं.
even Yuki
तक
Tsunoda was struggling. Let's dive into this weekend's
Right. Very
let's
fascinating.
dive into this weekend's fantasy private league that we are gunning for the F1 experience package for the Qatar Grand Prix. I think Ankush, I'll be very straight. You're last again.
अरे
This
यार
time
पहले
around.
लास्ट में बोलना चाहिए था.
I
डेयर
was
देने
not
को.
again. This is my first time that I'm last. Or this might be the last time that I'll be last.
But Ankush, you had Mercedes, you had Lewis Hamilton, and you had Hajar. Lewis
Hajar,
Hamilton was your turbo driver. I genuinely want to understand because watching the practice sessions, Mercedes was clearly
He's struggling now.
You're back.
Hey,
That
but
was a good one.
Ankush, Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton was on your team and was your turbo driver as well. Mine too, dude.
Never pick Ankush. Sorry, Ankush क्या बोल रहा है? Never pick Lewis as turbo. Always pick
Yeah,
Hajar.
Ankush and I have been in sync the entire podcast league, by the way. Just saying. We
Yeah,
give the
literally.
perfect predictions on call and then fuck
I-
up the team.
I just followed your advice.
Right.
Again,
Absolutely.
Ananya,
मैं
he's
वही
too expensive. Yeah. Oscar is too expensive to have in a team. Like, what are you left with then? At the end of the day, then you're left with
Hulkenberg.
Pinto, you're left with Stroll. And Hulkenberg was there? No, but Hulkenberg you were
Yeah,
not able
Hulkenberg
to.
was there, but of course,
अभी तो
who's
है ना
going?
भाई.
इतना बड़ा gamble कौन लेने वाला है?
कौन
Come
करेगा?
on.
हाँ, वही है ना.
But
या मतलब जिस
You have
रेस में chaos
3750
होता है वहीं
riders
पे
who will be there.
Hulkenberg का रिजल्ट आता है.
Ankush bhai.
So this
Await
is
there.
Ankush.
हाँ.
Sorry, yeah, but after we spoke, right? I first put the constructor and then did the math backwards.
Yeah,
Then
Yeah.
I
that's better.
selected the team.
That's
So
better.
I was also trying to do the same thing, but McLaren at 41 is too expensive. Yeah. Again,
It is not.
nahi yaar, it is
मेरा
expensive.
तो टीम बन गया.
हाँ, मतलब I was see I
Yeah.
was definitely
I
wanting to have a Hajar in my team. That was a sure shot thing. The other problem was again, I actually made a team post FP2, and then I saw FP3, and then I edited my team. So if Grademaster actually has log entries, they'll be able to see अच्छा इसका original team ये था. Then he migrated to this team. So I've
So
been doing this for 2 weekends in a row now.
I'm sorry, I missed. What was your team originally?
I can't remember what my team was originally, but it had Leclerc. It had Leclerc. I remember Leclerc, Hajar, and I think it was Ferrari again. Then I was like, nahi yaar, too many eggs in one basket. So I took out
Nobody's
Ferrari.
team.
Then I got Mercedes. I was like, Red Bull तो guaranteed नहीं आने वाला है. मतलब Red Bull is a waste. With Sonoda and that second seat also, and
Yeah,
being
yeah. Red
unable
Bull
to.
to definitely you cannot
हाँ,
consider. Yeah.
Max
yeah.
Bull Racing.
So then I was like, see, Mercedes has had a decent run in Catalonia. It's not been bad. And their
Yeah.
FP3 was okay, yaar. P5, P6, they had a good quality at the end of the day, and they were still in the hunt.
right.
P5 and P6 when Kimi had that failure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they
I,
were
I
still in
think
I
the
mean,
hunt.
if
Kimi DNF really hurt you.
yeah,
I was
if he
P2 after
hadn't,
quali, yaar. I was P2 after quali. I was so happy, and I was only 1 point off Sid that time when I saw it last. So I was like, but
Ah, you're talking about the provisional results after quali,
yeah,
right,
the
right, right.
provisional results. Yeah, I spent a lot of time watching all this. I got a lot of time in the world to study all these things.
But alas, yeah.
मैं
But
मैं मैं
Ankush
ग्रेड
bhai,
मास्टर में फैंस चैंपियनशिप पे जाता हूँ फॉर द 2025 सीजन. आई सी अंकुश आहूजा, आई सी मैच. आई एम लाइक आई विल कैच अप वन डे. आई विल कैच अप वन डे.
but Ankush bhai अभी तो dare करना पड़ेगा.
राइट.
मैं इसलिए
So,
पहले ही बोल दिया ना बता दो
We'll
डेयर
get to
क्या
that.
है
Yeah,
ये.
we'll get to that.
yeah.
We'll get to that.
So yeah, I
By
think
the
I
way,
think
has Ananya drafted that mail or no? That is what. अरे यार
In
once
my
See,
defense, I was sick, but I will do it and I will send a screenshot. I promise.
see.
I think last time I was not there. So can you please
राइट.
explain me what was it there for Ananya?
Adinda, you should
Sid,
do it.
go for it, Sid.
Adinda should
Dude,
do it.
no, I'll keep it brief. I had to write an email to Ferrari, basically saying, guys, please get your shit together. In I'm just paraphrasing. These guys made it sound quite harsh.
Then we made it couple team की official IDs करो. फिर बोला that might be too much.
Yeah,
So we
that
just
might be
Yeah,
too
went
much.
with
yeah.
I
So
work in motorsport, guys. I don't want to.
exactly.
so I think Ankush is P4. You'll have to do some there. I think Sid and everyone will decide about it. But I think P3 is Omkar Mohite.
Oh, paying once again.
Okay. So I think let's be very clear. This year's this not this year's but this Grand Prix Fantasy League bottom two performers is Ankush and Omkar. So yes, please put
I'm
the
as
money in the
old as
pot.
I'm as old and as Hamilton, and my performances are also like his only. So.
Good one, bhai. Good one.
I'm
Uh,
due to
Right.
travel to Austria. I
but
just hope all this does not go all
anyway, in that sense,
but
even
but irony is rather than getting a check, you are paying to Gridmaster.
हाँ.
और ओमकार भाई आपका भी आपकी उम्र स्टोल जितनी है और आप हरकतें भी स्टोल जितनी कर रहे हो.
काफी काफी बर्बादी पे हूँ. But I'm in the flirty zone of getting a dare. Last time I was third. This time I'm third
You're
again.
third.
So I
Yeah.
hope
Now
next
he's
time I'm
he
afloat.
no longer guy is no longer sad of being third. He's just like पैसे ही तो जा रहा है. इज्जत
हाँ.
कहाँ जा
True.
रवि
So that
penalty points. If when you get penalty points on your license, उसके लिए भी कोई penalty होना चाहिए यार Grid Master में यार. Because he's
acha.
only 3 or 4 points adrift of what I'm just
Yeah,
established.
for
Yeah, I
but
think I think I think you are very close to you Ankush. You are 163.054 and Omkar you are 167.178. तो अगर
4 points.
रहा.
या अगर पेनल्टी पॉइंट्स वाला ऐड कर देते तो डेफिनेटली ओमकार यू आर P4.
yeah, this time might a
Login
proper
bhai.
gamble. I'm like constructor. I'm not caring about a constructor. Let's go for two titans of the sport who are good at Barcelona,
Oh
and
wow, your team is
both of them shut.
your team is Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Wow, and
I
Racing Bull
I
as constructor.
script
Very
And
writer.
Until
interesting.
what?
he also had Lewis as the turbo driver. So three of us were on with Lewis on
Yeah,
turbos. Yeah.
Yes,
All
Yes,
of
All
Anand.
three of them.
yes,
I mean, Racing Bulls at one until one point of time, both of them were in points. So I was like, okay, they are doing well.
yes,
Eventually, Lawson
yeah.
went out of points, but I was like,
Yes.
okay, I think Racing Bulls is a good bet.
Yeah, but I think backing Racing Bulls, Williams, sometimes has do genuinely give you returns, bro.
Yeah, this time because Williams was so bad throughout the weekend, nobody. I mean, there were
Nobody,
so many
yeah.
Yeah.
permutation combinations. That's why because Williams was.
Law of averages catches up eventually. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So I think, yeah, P2 is Ananya. You're safe this weekend. Your team is Lewis Hamilton, Lawson, Lewis being your turbo driver, and McLaren being very
Oh,
safe. I think, yeah, McLaren scored the highest points amongst the constructors. And yeah, nice going. I think you're P2. You don't have to pay this weekend. I think last
Thank
weekend,
God.
last weekend she was P4.
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, all right. And yeah, this weekend's
winner
Gridmaster
again.
podcast league winner is Siddharth Shah, slowly turning to be the Oscar Piastri of this of our podcast league.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है ज्यादा.
आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Strollnet.
माइक भी उड़ गया उसका बेचारे का. He lost battery on the mic, it seems.
I think we cannot hear Siddharth.
No.
Nothing, nothing. But yeah, so yeah, it is interestingly, after the Spanish Grand Prix, Sid remains at 3. His score is 3, like he's just paid 3 times in the pot. Whereas Ananya, you are P2 with your score is 5. You've paid 5 times in the pot. And Omkar
Hello,
and
hello.
Ankush, yes, you're back, Sid.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
Omkar and Ankush, you've paid 6 times. You've paid the maximum number of times in the pot.
Yeah.
So
One
yeah,
more and then you'll
Ever
have
out of
Timmy's number
curiosity.
yeah.
and Jack Doohan's
Yeah.
number.
Uh, Ravi bhai,
Sid, what
out of
was your team?
curiosity, to rub their. Mine was. What was my team?
Your
Ravi
team
bhai, what
was
was my
for
team?
your team was Fernando Alonso, Isaac
Isaac
Hajar.
Hajar and McLaren.
Isaac Hajar was the turbo driver and McLaren. Interestingly, I mean, Siddharth, how did you back? I mean, why did you back Fernando Alonso?
Fernando.
Because it was a home
Law of
race.
averages.
Fernando.
Law of averages.
You were
Number
so
one, law
sure
of
that.
averages. Second, and he historically majorly does good in Spain. Also,
हाँ.
slight emotional, and he was doing decently well across all three practice sessions as well. Huh? That Aston seemed to be fairly handy, and
Yeah,
I knew he just had to qualify in the top 10 and just somehow figure out a way to be in the top 10. So I'll get all the performance bonus. I'll get all the extra goodies with the points as well. So I was aiming for a 35 pointer mark for Fernando. That's a decent ballpark for any non-turbo driver, I feel.
बाप रे.
So उस हिसाब से I think Fernando scored
but I
most
think
around the same.
that was brave call because knowing his bad luck that's going on right now, I wouldn't have backed him.
It's so much bad luck. अब कभी तो जाके वो सीधा होता. तो I'm just sort of slightly lucky that this is the weekend जहाँ पे वो bad luck, good luck में turn हो गया. But yeah, but out of curiosity and also to rub their noses into it, what was the winning margin?
Yeah, bro, your winning margin. I'm just calculating
Uh-huh.
that,
You have to calculate. Oh damn. तो फिर तो
bro.
मत ही बताओ.
His winning margin is literally
Crazy.
more than 50 points. That I think this is the largest gap that I've seen on Gridmaster
I had no
on
Lewis
any
Hamilton.
league.
I had no Lewis Hamilton.
But said by this is unfair. The race that your own driver is not participating in, you are winning here. I mean, come on.
You
He
see,
would have taken Stroll, but Stroll was not available. Hence he took
Stroll was
Lando.
not available. Yeah. Ankush is right. Stroll was not available. I would have taken Stroll. See, he had backache यार. उसको थोड़ा आराम करने दो.
What were the team names? Ravi, वो तो बता दे यार.
I think Sidka was Papa Stroll's better son.
Which Fernando is.
Ananya's B-ball.
You ball.
I think
I couldn't give a
What?
shit.
yeah, we can see that. Omkar is Bahar Se Luna.
Barcelona.
वही वही हालत है मेरी पॉइजन के साथ बाहर से लेने की.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
God, wow. And Ankush is hope it isn't painful.
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 Painful. Oh my God. Wow.
RS in Spain is
The
silent.
creativity that is
Some
going behind
ultimation में
creating.
creativity. Creativity 100%. Team performance 0%.
In the
It's
second
true.
round of this podcast,
I,
I had told that we should get an extra point for the creativity in naming.
Yeah.
not an extra 10 points to होना चाहिए. Then Omi,
Wow,
you're
wow,
doing
wow,
the
wow,
best.
wow, wow, wow.
ये क्या चांदी भाई?
But
I
yeah,
would be that team. The मेरी team ऐसी होगी, team I'll have the best livery on the grid and have the worst performances on track. So it'll be all
Best
the livery.
advantage.
or
Best
probably
advantage.
or probably the HRC from last year.
Ooh.
MotoGP.
अच्छा, you're giving the MotoGP reference. That is the
Right.
reason I'm
हाँ,
not
was a good one.
understanding. Yeah.
Was a good one.
मैं वही सोचा HRC F1 में कहाँ पे आ गया? I
अरे
went
HRC
back to
technically F1 में भी है ना. Honda
है
Racing
ना यार.
Corporation तो is
You
there
still
in
have
F1.
the Honda
yeah,
branding on the Red
we
Bull
have
car.
that, but F1 में slang अलग use होता है. HRC is very MotoGP term, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
guess. I guess.
yeah.
Very
So
Marquez term.
yeah. So yeah, guys, let's dive into our last segment.
Hey,
Predictions
hang on,
for.
before that, the there.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Like, so many people.
Ankush hoped that
Ankush,
we forgot.
I was saving you
ऐसे
because we
मैं
both
कैसे
are Kimi
भूलूंगा
fans,
यार?
but yeah.
हाँ.
मैं कैसे भूलूंगा? मैंने पुखी लूजर डांस किया है, मैं भूल ही नहीं सकता वो चीज अभी और.
So that you have to give up. You have to
No, I mean collectively us.
give,
Omkar bhai, have you thought of anything?
Uh, not a dance that is in my mind right now. What can we
मैं
do?
सोचा
सच्ची
था.
बोल रहा हूँ बेस्ट होगा अगेन डू अ पूकी डांस फॉर अंकुश
मैं सोचा था इनको बोलने का कि 2-3 मेमोरेबल भेज दो, बट अंकुश हैज सो मच इन हिज हाउस, लाइक मेरे को
that doesn't matter man
या एग्जैक्टली.
yeah.
बट
I actually gave away a Pagani Zonda Sync to
oh,
and an Alpine concept because Alpine's
oh,
concepts are useless anyways. So
I mean,
we are giving it to
out of nowhere.
we have to be realistic about it. Their
Out of
concepts and
nowhere.
their current are all going down the drain now.
Bhai sahab, that is so rude. Do it again.
But yeah, so what's the final
I was
take?
going to, have you seen one of those days where you just like ask them to call up someone, like call a girl on call and like have a prank with her on call? मैं सोचा था अंकुश भाई को, but that's a very Gen Z, that's a very my generation dare which I
Yeah.
would probably give people.
True.
पता नहीं अंकुश भाई को मैं बोलूंगा, अंकुश भाई की शादी वाली फिक्स हो जाएगी सीधा फिर.
वही तो नहीं चाहिए भाई.
वही तो नहीं चाहिए.
My front wing, rear wing, all will get cut. No more F1 racing. I'll have no aerodynamic ability.
God,
This keeps on getting
Ankush.
better. This keeps on getting better. भाई इतना सोच के मेरे को लगता है he has thought about it a lot more than we have. So we should probably ask him to call someone up. But I think Ravi bhai, आपका वाला would be the good idea. अंकुश भाई को पुकी. Enjoying it.
We got 15-20 seconds of extra footage.
Yeah.
He had his own
And in
version.
Ferrari gear. What else? मुझे कल notice आएगा. What are you doing with our gear?
That was like out of this world. Ankush, that sportingly, I think he
Ankush bhai, I
deserves
think
this.
you are
Yeah.
Very well done.
you are a better dancer than all of us here.
So yeah, guys, I think we are reaching towards the last part of our segment, which is the prediction segment for the Canadian Grand Prix. So yeah, I'll be very simple and will be very straight. Starting with Ankush, who takes pole at Canada
Oscar.
during the?
Yeah.
If it rains, then Max
अब
otherwise Oscar.
ओमकार भाई बोलेंगे for the plot to thicken.
Ah,
Umi, next,
Thicken कर
Um,
दो भाई.
Max.
I think it's a probability of rain, so I'd say Max for the pole.
Wow. All right, Ananya.
I think it's going to be Max as well. But because I know that the Red Bull car does better on faster circuits than on slower ones. So
Hmm.
maybe we have a chance. But I don't
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Nice, interesting. Siddharth.
It's tough, but I'm still going to stick to my word. For the third race running, I will say Charles Leclerc in a Ferrari taking pole.
I think that वो क्या बोलते हैं ना Delulu fans. This is a new
Ah,
term that is going on, na?
Yeah.
Delulu.
Delulu fans. It is a
कभी
very
तो
Gen
होगा,
Z.
कभी तो मैं 20 बार प्रेडिक्ट करूंगा, एक बार तो होगा. I have a car that
Last year Ferrari was the most struggling team in Canada.
one off, hopefully. But if you see, across the years as well, 2018, 2019, 22 as well, they were decently good. 23 they were decent. 24 they were shy. But yeah, there you go. I'm still gonna say Charles Leclerc.
All right.
Perfect. Perfect. And I think I would go for Lando. A little bit of
Whoa,
bouncing back. Let's see.
whoa, that's what she said.
So, so you always have to say this, right? You always
Office
like
fan.
That's relevant.
yeah. After the race, who is P5?
P5.
What?
P5.
Just
Hmm.
random.
P5.
Lewis Hamilton.
So Ananya,
He does well in Canada, by the way.
Ananya is Ham.
Yeah.
Ankush P5.
Hmm.
Yep. I see
Leclerc.
why I asked a random number is because we know probably who's gonna win 1, 2 podium. P5 is
Yes.
something which
Yeah.
is a little something
Random.
to play for. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Actually, Antonelli. Let's do Antonelli.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah, great shout. I was gonna go for that as well. Kimi Antonelli.
good. But now for the plot to thicken.
Taken. George Russell.
George Russell. He's like that. वो वाइवा में रट के आते हैं ना. Every answer. First question is Leclerc. Second answer. Second
George
question is
Russell.
Russell.
George Russell.
So Omi genuinely Russell P5.
Yeah, George Russell
It's a
P5.
fair bet. That's a very decent bet.
All right.
He's
I think
always there lingering
he's
about in
always
the top
there.
five.
Yeah, exactly. Top five. I think it's a very safe answer that Omi is given.
Yeah.
Siddharth, what about you?
Going to go very, very bold. Very, very bold. It's going to be at his home race. My guy.
What?
Lando.
But
Bro,
he might not be racing. He might
he
not
could
be
he
racing.
could yeah, exactly. He might not be racing,
If
bro.
he races. If he races. If not, it's going to be
Then it's going to be Felipe Dragovic, his
Huh.
replacement.
No,
not
that would be
Dragovic. I
P4, no
don't I
then.
don't I
Slightly
don't
better.
trust in Dragovic as much as I trust in Lance.
Uh,
But if not Lance, then I think it's going to be Pierre Gasly.
Pierre
Oh,
Gasly. Wow,
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
interesting.
yeah. Very
I think
saucy.
I would go for your favorite driver's teammate, Fernando Alonso.
Arre.
Let's bring him
P5
back in. Let's bring him back in. Yeah, I
back to
think
back.
I think we should do winners and we should also do Wall of Champions would be,
Who would be
Wall of
against
crashing into the
Champions.
wall of champion?
I think
Ooh.
Wall of Champions is very interesting. Wall of Champions.
Ah,
Who's
right,
gonna be the guest of
right.
Wall of Champions? Yeah,
Right.
But
guys.
what are we looking
Bortoleto.
at? Hugging, kissing, or
Are kissing, making out, just
Are
pointing at
crash,
you.
man.
Crash man, सीधा crash.
oh,
Go home
Tod
Crash,
race
Ford,
with it.
crash.
Tod Ford,
Just,
Todford.
Franco Colapinto.
hey यार मैं बोलने वाला था वो यार. And I was going to say in a
I was
very
about to
poetic
say,
way. Oh,
Omi's for cola.
you're going to say Coca-Cola or something.
Ah,
Coca-Cola too.
I'll
Sid.
say Bortoleto.
Oh wow, Ananya,
Oh,
Bortoleto.
Another
oh.
rookie.
Sonoda.
Who?
Yuki
Oh.
Tsunoda. Bhai.
Because he's not happy with the balance of that car. So
Not at all.
yeah.
Wow.
Sid.
I am going to, now that you've taken Coca-Cola away from me, I am going to make a very bold prediction again. It is going to be
My guy.
Sir Lewis Hamilton.
You took my answer, man. I was going to say
Why?
Hamilton.
Why?
Sir Lewis
Guys,
Hamilton.
do you know how many times he's won there?
Yeah, but do you know how many times you've crashed there? None. But that will
Zero.
change. That will change.
Yeah, that is first win in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah. Like full circle, like from winning to crashing in Canada.
Yeah, even
Like,
I think he's going to crash in that Ferrari. First crash with Ferrari.
What if it
मजा
is Max that crashes? Then it's like, then that'll be a
और
big,
मजा आएगा और मजा आएगा.
because on the contractual side of things, that'll be a big alarm bell for Max
Yeah.
बहुत
if
ज्यादा
it is
मजा आएगा.
Max.
I think
If
I did
if
not get
Max
your
crashes, I
reference. क्या
hope
बोल रहा? I did not get your reference.
I said on the contractual side with Red Bull, because it'll be a, if
Oh,
Max
right,
does have
right.
a crash,
Ha ha
Exit
ha.
clause triggered.
Exit
yeah,
clause trigger. Yeah.
yeah.
but just for the fun of it, just to add spice, if Max crashes, I hope George wins or stands on the podium, just to rub salt into it.
Chalo, we'll be looking forward for the Canadian Grand Prix and see if whose predictions were right. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And we would see again all the folks and our gang for the Canadian Grand Prix. Till
Hey,
then,
Thank
thank
you.
you so